This podcast is made for you. Believe everything we say is true. 1722. 1722.
Alright, so we're just going forward, or are we going into the intro?
No, just talking and then we'll go into the intro whenever.
I mean, it's whatever. We're already talking now, so we might as well just keep it going until we're ready to go into the intro.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, it's hard not to think about the Duggar family right now.
The Duggar family is.
Oh, really? They had like 27 kids, and the oldest one molested somebody, a lot of people, I think.
They had like 20 or something like that.
It was a TLC show.
Yeah, like 20 and counting, 19 and counting. I lost count.
Yeah.
All I just know is, like, when I found out about that family, my ovaries hurt just thinking about that many children. I'm like...
I was about to say, 20-something kids, that sounds like a VHS movie I've seen.
That would be, like, a really weird, like, VHS porn that you would find, like, in your, like, uncle's, like, stash. However, you're just like, ooh... Says the Lion King, and you pop it in, and it's definitely not the Lion King.
No, not whatsoever.
Would it be a color tape like the Rugrats tape, though? Would it be orange?
No, you know, it'd be that white.
Yeah.
That force.
It'd be really awkward when you pop it in and your
white
mom's
label
getting
on it.
fucked by all of your brothers, though.
That would be thousands upon thousands of dollars of therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you could recover from that.
I don't think so.
No. And now I think because of anyone out there who knows what the Duggars are, he's still in jail, right?
Yeah, he's still in jail.
Yeah,
Thank
he's
God.
done. Yeah, he's out for the count. So.
Oh yeah.
Thank God.
Well, like you said earlier, I haven't even heard that name in like I don't know how many years. So
Yeah.
Now I'm just kind of like mind fucked thinking about that, and like mom and dad used to watch like every goddamn episode.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because we
day.
grew up not that different from the Duggar family.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, it's just us two, so we don't have any other siblings or anything. But as far as religiously,
Oh yeah.
jean skirts and that whole thing.
Well, thankfully, like growing up religious, it wasn't that extreme for me. But like, of course, like girls had to be like, oh, you have to like protect your brothers in Christ's eyes and everything. So you showing skin is so scandalous and everything, and you're just like, I'm just showing just a little bit of this. That's it. Or just like an ankle. It's like, that ankle. Like, bless over this cankle that I have.
That is really how it's like,
for
for real.
about that shit, though.
Yeah, for no reason at all.
It's so crazy. Like, there's like for the longest time, I'm like, like even as an adult, I'm like, too afraid to like show any skin. Like even when like wearing a bathing suit, I would still like wear like shorts and a tank top, whatever. And like now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. There's only so much of time left before everything's gonna be sagging down to the ground. My boobs will probably start hitting me in the face when I run and everything. It's just...
Yeah, you gotta live your life at some
point.
point.
Gotta live my life, and if anyone has an issue with it, fuck you, and go suck on a micro penis.
Yes, suck on a micro penis. That's how you do it.
And choke on it, because that's the most embarrassing thing to ever happen. Like, if you choke on like a micro penis, that's embarrassing. Like, a big dick, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable, but a micro penis, that would be super embarrassing.
Yeah, like you can relate.
Oh yeah, I mean, I won't say I've sucked dick, but I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
I mean, if you
gotta
if
think.
you struggled with a micro penis, you were pretty much like choked on air. I feel like.
yeah, it's a great
like
point.
a drink going down the wrong pipe.
Yeah, there was actually one time I like went over to this guy's house. He said he was single and everything, and when I got to his place, he leads me to his bedroom. He had a NFL Panthers bedspread.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, like, single guy, do whatever the fuck he wants, okay, whatever. And then we proceed to have sex and everything. So when I went to go down there, to get him up, whatever, I had to retract back real quick after touching it. He's like, are you okay? I was like, oh, it's my hand. It was just cold. His dick was this big.
So you thought it was a pimple, really? Yeah.
Well, it was something. I was just like, how the fuck did he get his baby mama pregnant? Because he was actually expecting a baby, But he said, like, he wasn't with the baby mama and everything, but I think that was a lie.
He was talking her through it, so she wasn't worried about it. He was telling her how much he loved her and shit.
Oh, I'm sure. Actually, I did accidentally found him on, like, people you might know on Facebook.
Oh, no.
Like, years later, like 2 years later, whatever. And they were married.
Oh, wow.
I was like, hopefully they weren't married when we were fucking. But it wouldn't be the first, and hopefully that would be, like, the last time that's ever happened to me when it comes to that stuff. Because it's happened a lot. Like, I wouldn't even be fucking around with guys. I would just be like, they're my friends. They're coworkers of mine. I've actually had, like, their wives be, like, trying to call me up and blow my phone up through their phone, like, the guy's phone over. And I'm like, I'm on a fucking date. Why the fuck are you trying to call me at 9 o'clock at night when you're married? And then they're texting like, my wife went all crazy. They think, you're fucking with me and everything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, this is the last time I'd be working with all guys. Because I was working for a roofing company at the time and everything.
God. Oh, yeah, they was thirsty.
Yeah, those are animals.
Oh, yeah. So after that, I was like, I'll just work with women. And then I worked for a candle company for a little bit and then got laid off. And now I am a wiener girl.
A wiener girl. Wow. Okay.
So basically, I make hot dogs for a company, like a restaurant.
Micro hot dogs?
No, they're pretty decent. They're like good size. Like you can't fit it all in your mouth, type of thing.
I think that's what I like. If I was gonna do it, that's what I prefer.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a local company in Nashville. They're, like, all over the place. They're, like, downtown. They only do, like, hot dogs for the most part. Really good. And it's so funny because, like, when I was doing orientation today, they were showing us around. And I saw, like, they have, like, little cozies over. And it says, I'm a daddy's girl. Because it's called Daddy's Dogs. So I'm just, like, and then, like, there was actually a sign that says, leave your daddy issues behind. And then there's like this big, huge, like sauce, like, hot dog over on like this container, like shipping container that they have, and it says size matters.
Man, they got marketing down.
They do got marketing down for
Sounds
sure.
like a marketing team of all men.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
It definitely is. It really is. I think there's only like a few women that work there and everything, but I'm like, man, if they have a shirt that says like I'm a daddy's girl, I would totally wear it.
Proudly.
Probably.
Do the male employees have to wear that too? Because that'd be fucking hilarious.
Well, there's no shirt that says I'm a daddy's girl, but if they did, I would totally wear that. But it does, like, they do have like t-shirts that say like daddy's dogs on there and over or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh shit, you should pitch that to them and then you get royalties off that t-shirt.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I'm just like, so, like, can I do, like, flavor ideas and everything and, like, name ideas? And they're like, yeah, you could do it, like, after, like, your third day of training or whatever. Like, once you're all in, like, you can submit ideas. Like, I wonder if I can just, like, send ridiculous ideas. Like, like, the big O or something like that. Or micro hot dog or something like that. Like, make it suggestive, but also, like, where it goes over kids' heads, but adults can understand it. Just like Disney,
Yeah, all those innuendos.
Yeah, like, it's so funny, like, when you look back at, like, like, Disney now, when you watch it, and from when you're a kid, like, you have no idea. And it's so funny, because you remember, like, how all these, like, religious people were like, oh, we're not gonna let our kids, like, watch Disney and everything because of the subliminal messages that they have over, like, I didn't know that there was, like, a penis-looking thing on like, the castle in Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah, on the VHS
yeah.
tape. There's a dick crazy. In the middle of, it's like a pillar.
Apparently the story is the guy that, like, drew it or whatever got fired, and he was like, fuck you! In there to fuck Disney or whatever.
I wondered about that.
Which
I'm
is
like,
hilarious.
And then in that same movie,
love the last bang.
At the end when she's getting married, the priest has like a fucking like twiddle down here, and like there's something like swinging back and forth under his pants.
Word?
Yeah, you can see it on YouTube. There's all these Disney innuendos and shit, and
I left them shits alone whenever I got old. I didn't rewatch them, but man, That's why, probably, because you'll find a whole bunch of fucked up shit.
Oh yeah, you do.
10 minutes in.
Like in The Lion King, remember like when he's out in that field and he just like lays down and all that stuff goes flying in the air? It says sex.
Yeah, it spells out sex.
In the...
She's not lying.
Now I'm over here thinking, did I know how to spell back then?
And they tried passing it off when people acknowledged it. They're like, no, it's for the sound department, SFX. And we're like, get the fuck out of here. No, it's SEX. No.
They get their credits at the end. Credits.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole point right there.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Welcome to 1722, where we talk shit about everything, and we don't take shit from nobody.
We don't take shit from nobody.
You're damn right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we have a very special guest. I'm proud to say that this is our first female guest on the video.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited.
So, your first time on camera, like, it's a big deal, I think, right? Having a female. Yeah, we're trying to prove that we're not sexist here and that we're not an incel podcast.
Yeah, we're not just men.
So
come on.
Hopefully we can push that narrative a little bit more.
Yes.
Barriers.
Yes.
And I'd like to also go on record and say that all three of us don't have micro penises. So
that's true. Thank God.
Down new gas stations.
But Ash Newland.
Yes.
Sorry I didn't give you the proper intro.
No worries. You're good. You're good.
What is the name of your podcast?
It is the Mont Ash Podcast.
Mont Ash Podcast.
So my podcast partner, his name is Monty, and him and I have been podcasting with each other since like last August or September.
Oh, okay. So it's been a good little run so far.
Yes.
Very nice.
You guys do it weekly?
We try to do it weekly as much as possible, but then there was times where my life was crazy with like family stuff, and so I think we have about maybe like 14, 15 podcasts right now. Cool. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's definitely has been a good run so far. I mean, I wish I was there when we were interviewing a porn star from the 70s.
Oh, what?
Yes. She's in a retirement home now.
Jenny
Lewis is her name.
Shout out Jenny Lewis.
Jenny Lewis.
Yes. And
I was there to the retirement home and recorded with her?
No, we didn't go to the retirement home.
That would be so fucking awesome.
Well, she wore so I watched it because I was exposed to COVID, so didn't want to cause harm to a national treasure. So I was so bummed out about it because, like, to be honest, I only have watched porn like 5 times in my life. Twice was on accident as a kid because, HBO late at night and everything.
I watched it many times on accident.
One time at a hotel while my cousin's, like, best friend's mom, like, got us this hotel and we were, like, drinking, smoking pot, hanging out. And we were watching some, like, local, like, public channel that was publicizing porn, like, right then and there. Like, you see, like, this old, like, crackhead, meth head chick sucking on this dude's big-ass dick. And you're just like... And I was still, like, a virgin, like, never seen anything like this before. I was like, oh my god, what are they doing? And... like, I'm like, can we change this? I'm very uncomfortable. And, like, some of my cousin's friends were just like, oh my gosh, Ashley's being such a baby. And my cousin was just like, Fallon, shut the fuck up. Leave her alone. She's my cousin, okay? And then the following week, I lost my virginity for the first time.
Of course. Oh, that's perfect.
And I was like, I was new into, like, the public school world. I was like 15 years old. No one ever told me that getting high and drunk at the same time is not the best combo ever.
Oh, no. You gotta be professional for that.
Yes. So I lost my virginity and I never even had a boyfriend. I never kissed. Like, it was the first of everything that night. And so...
knock it all out at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Rip the Band-Aid off that motherfucker.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. At least I didn't get pregnant that night.
Yeah. Thank God that was not the first. Yeah.
That was... yes. Well, thankfully, I've never been pregnant. I never had to do anything with that. But now my dad's just like, so when are you going to give me grandchildren? I'm just like, whenever you can pay for the adoption fees or find me a man that I can spend with for the rest of my life. That shut him up for 10 years.
Of course, yeah.
And now he's bringing it back up again. He's like, okay, you're 32 now. And I'm not getting any younger, even though he's like 51 years old. I'm like, well, Dad, yeah, you're getting younger anymore because you smoke all the time. So I don't know how long you're going to live.
Yeah, that older generation's never going to stop smoking. Never.
He's tried a few times, but then goes back with it. And so, which is funny because, like, he smokes pot too and everything. Oh, okay. Like, we smoke pot together.
Oh, that's the best, smoking with your parent. That's a different experience.
Yes, it really is because growing up as a kid, which is part of my material that I perform on stage, but growing up as a kid, you know how parents lie about things. I don't know if, since you guys were religious, did you guys grow up with Santa Claus too, or no?
With Santa Claus?
Like, saying that, your parents saying that Santa Claus was real.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For a few years, not like forever, but for a few years there was like that.
Okay. Well, never was taught that Santa Claus was a real, like, thing. It was more like he's a fictional character based off of someone in history, blah, blah, blah. Those types of lies, like that most kids had, I didn't. And so the lie that my parents would tell me is that marijuana plants were tomato plants.
Wow. Okay. Kind of genius, for real.
It really is, because the reason why is because I lived in Washington State, and it's now legal recreationally and everything, but back then, you would have gotten your ass locked in jail for a long time. And so they were growing marijuana plants in the closet and in their bathroom.
Damn, bunch of hippies. I love it.
Religious hippies for sure. And they were like young parents, like, you know, they were around in like their early 20s around that time. Mm-hmm. So the reason why, like, my brother and I found out about it is because we were sneaking around to find our birthday gifts, because we knew it was somewhere in our parents' room. We saw that, so we're like, hey, Mom and Dad, what is this? They're like, oh, it's tomato plants. We're growing tomatoes because we want to be like farmers. And so we believed it. So I was like so excited about it because I'm thinking like red, juicy tomatoes that, you know, you can make spaghetti sauce with or something. And I was so excited. So every day, like, I would sneak in there just to see like the progress of these plants. And then eventually, you know, weeks gone by, and I was just so disappointed because there wasn't any red, juicy tomatoes. So I'm thinking to myself, man, my parents are really shitty growers.
Yeah.
And then I found out the hard truth when I was in middle school. I was still homeschooled. And the reason why I found out was because my cousin went to middle school in the area, and she, you know, came home, and she's like getting all paranoid and like weird, out of character. And we're like, you right, cuz? She's like, guys, go into Ashley's room. I'll fall right behind you. And she's like looking behind us and everything, making sure no one's following us, and then close the door. And she's like, guys, I just got done with an assembly at school, and they're called DARE.
Oh, DARE.
And you know that stuff that your mom, your dad, and my dad are smoking in that pipe? I was like, yeah, tobacco, because we're somewhat Native American. Another lie my parents would say. And she's like, no, guys, it's called pot, aka marijuana.
Oh, shit.
And if our parents get caught with it, they can go to jail. And for me, I'm like, okay, all right. And my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, starts bawling his eyes out, freaking out. He's like, oh my God, they're going to go to jail. We're going to go like get separated from each other, go to foster care. We're never going to see each other again. Like, you might get adopted, maybe, just maybe. I'll probably get adopted into some type of family. We'll never see each other again. And I'm just like grabbing him like, you know, smacking him across the face. I'm like, snap out of it. we're gonna be fine. We're not gonna say anything. That's probably one of the reasons why we are never allowed to have friends over and everything like that, because they're gonna be like, Mom, Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Newland's house smells really funny.
Yeah.
I can see why my parents never really had us have friends over, like, to the point, like, my brother and I would sometimes be afraid to, like, ask my parents to see if, like, our friend can use the bathroom, because we lived in this, like, neighborhood where there's, like, a cul-de-sac, and it's, like, far out, and my friends lived on that end, and we lived on the opposite side, and one of my friends, like, she really had to go to the bathroom. She's like, guys, I really have to go to the bathroom. Can one of you guys ask? And my brother and I are just, like, going back and forth of just finding, like, no, you ask Mom and Dad. No, you ask Mom and Dad. And she just pisses her pants. And she's like, well, great, guys. I now have to go home and change. And, like, we told my mom about it. She's like, you could have asked us. So I'm like, well, usually you say no. So we were trying to figure out who was going to be the bad guy of, like, saying, like, oh, you know, Mom and Dad said no, so you need to go back up to your house to pee over. So
it is shocking to think that someone's religious and growing weed, though.
Like,
that wouldn't be our experience at all, or if it was, I don't know anyone that did.
That's a weird, what is that, duality, I guess. Right there. Yeah,
it really was. And it's so funny now because, like, my dad and I will occasionally smoke together. And, like, the first time ever, like, I was kind of, like, anti-pot, but, like, the guy that I was dating was, like, super pro-pot and everything. We went to go to Seattle to visit my family so he could meet my family. And we were in my dad's buddy's garage. And it's like the typical, like your dad's most pervy, like, friend of all time. Like, lesbian porn posters, like, all over the garage and everything.
It's like a 90s movie. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Like, he's definitely stuck in the 90s and everything. Like, he's the guy, like, that will try to get every woman that is around him to be like, show me your tits.
The kind of dude that makes all the guys in the room uncomfortable.
Yeah, like, dude, yes. Rick, get out of here, man. Yeah.
Yes. Like, my dad knows about it. I'm like, I can't believe my friend asked you to show him your tits, but I didn't. I'm like, no worries, Dad. I would never want to show this guy my tits ever. But, so, like, it was all a group of guys. I was, like, the only woman in that group and everything. So my dad was bonding with my ex-boyfriend over pot and everything, and I was kind of getting a little jealous and left out. And, like, when the pipe was going to my dad, I was, like, standing next to my dad. I grabbed the pipe, I grabbed the lighter, and my dad's just like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, it's okay, Dad, I'm cool with it, and just lights it up like a pro, even though this is, like, my second time only smoking pot. And, like, you could start seeing, like, tears welled in his eyes.
Oh,
and
no.
he's just like, I'm like, Dad, are you okay? He's like, this is the happiest day of my life. I was like, whoa, wait, Dad. Me not being born wasn't the happiest day of your life? He's like, well, that's the first. This is the second. I was like, what about me graduating college and high school and not getting knocked up? He's like, just let me have my moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd be like, come on, you're just smoking weed. Let's go, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, it's kind of cool to have, like, that little bonding time. Because, like, you know, growing up as a kid, like, I didn't really have, like, the greatest relationship with my dad because he was, like, the financial provider type of person. Not, like, the emotional support person that you would need type of thing. And now him and I are cool because I feel like we have more in common now as adults. Where we're just like, we'll go to, like, our bonding time is, like, going to a bar and, like, drinking with each other, playing darts and pool. He can kick my ass in pool. I can kick his ass in darts because he can't see that far. Like, I see him squinting, and you can tell, like, he can't do it very well. But when it comes to pool, like, my dad's, like, you think that he was, like, a pro pool player because he has his own little, like, pool stick satchel.
Oh, wow. He calls it billiards at that point.
Yeah. Probably does. I never asked him if it was pool or billiards. But it's so funny because, like, the first time him and I ever played pool together, I'm thinking, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to kick his ass. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait. Forgot my pool satchel.
I love that.
And I was just like, whoa, wait, what? What is that? And he takes it out of his car, and it's like made from a Washington State like Indian reservation.
Heavy duty.
Good God.
And it had like wolves on it and everything. And it was like the coolest looking thing ever, but I'm just like, oh shit. My dad might be... I might not know my dad. Maybe he's abducted by aliens. I don't know. But he could kick my ass big time in pool. And...
So you never knew, like, before that he was into pool? He just showed up with a satchel one day?
Well, not like that serious. Like, growing up as a kid, like, I lived in the house that my mom grew up in, and my grandpa was just like, here you go. He was basically our landlord. If my grandpa wasn't our landlord, we probably would have been homeless numerous of times. Just because, like, I always heard my parents be like, we can't afford rent. My dad's like, your dad's gonna kick us out. And, like, my brother and I were just like, here, sell this.
Wow, that is very relatable.
Similar upbringing.
You were homeschooled?
Yes.
So see what happens when you follow God? You have no money, you stupid fuck.
Yes.
Unless you act like Joel Osteen.
Right,
yeah, and then you got billions.
Mm-hmm.
Billions stuffing them in the walls of his bathrooms of his church.
I know, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, when you're watching those, you're just like, where does the money go? And then you're just like, oh, it's under the seats. It's in the cushions. It's in everything in there.
As a kid, I hated them because I was like, you're just like everyone else I go to church with, but you have so much fucking money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would put such a sour taste in my mouth. I was like, fuck this dude. I hate all the evangelists.
Oh, yeah.
It's fake as fuck.
Like the ones that go up like this and then the people start going back.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny as fuck. But
it is. Have you guys ever been to a Benny Hinn crusade?
No.
I've watched it. Yeah, but I've never...
I went to one when I was like a teenager because my brother had cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic lung disease. And so, like, we had, like, you know, like, it was like that Pentecostal charismatic type of church and that I grew up in. And we're like, well, maybe he can get healed at this crusade or whatever. I'm like, we're not even close to the stage or anything like that. And, like, nothing happened. So we're just like, okay, maybe it's not God's will this time, whatever, that type of thing. And it's just like, I'm agnostic now. So I don't go to church.
You didn't get to have the moment with Benny Hinn?
No, thankfully not.
Damn,
I don't want to get hit by his blazer. It's like, wham, wham, wham. I don't even remember, like we were there for a little bit, and, like, we didn't see, like, laying of hands or anything while we were there. It was, like, mainly, like, worship and him doing hallelujah.
Oh,
I actually had an ex that wanted to be like Benny Hinn, and I used to be in ministry. Like, I was, like, a missionary over in Thailand that did pastoring over there, and my ex was trying to be an evangelist, and, like, his idol was, like, Benny Hinn, so, like, he was, like, trying to do, like, the same shit as him, except for, like, not hitting people with a blazer or anything. But
well, we grew up like, you know, the Holy Ghost and laying of hands and like, all that kind of stuff. But it was never like the Benny Hinn thing where it's like he had superpowers.
Yeah. Oh, remember when he would go like this?
Love that. I was
and then
so hard for that motherfucker.
Like, now's the time where I turn up. Activate my powers. Yeah, I never seen no shit.
I would put my body on the line for Benny Hinn if he touched me. I'd just fly across the room.
Oh yeah, just to like sell it for him. Yeah.
I just want that video.
You become a full performer at that point.
Then we would know that he's Darth Vader.
Yeah, he's got the Force.
I belly flopped right off the stage.
Imagine having your idol, the one person you look up to in life, being Benny Hinn. Like that quote right there is just insane to me.
But he's a real life superhero.
Yeah.
You spend your life thinking that this guy's healing people and like with a coat of all things. So it's like, fuck Spider-Man, I see this guy.
Yeah. Did you guys grow up with like all those like religious TV shows too that are like meant for kids, like Veggie Tales?
Oh yeah, Bible Man.
Oh my god! Finally someone knows what I'm talking about.
Finally someone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Even this motherfucker didn't know. We had to show him.
Yeah. I remember showing one of my exes like Veggie Tales. He's like, "What the fuck is this? Talking vegetables that talk about Jesus."
Hey, you can't hate on them though.
I never grasped that, but they put that on for us in school sometimes.
Say like that's all we had. That's all we were allowed to watch.
I'll still watch a VeggieTale.
my roommate and
not Bible Man though. Fuck that.
Oh no, like that's like cheesy ass acting and bad like
it's like
makeup.
Christian Power Rangers basically.
Oh, yeah. And then like McGee and Me.
Oh my god! Naming the hits over here.
Yeah, god damn, McGee and Me. Oh my lord!
I hadn't thought about that. So
we used to have that shit on VHS.
Yes. Well,
we had one fucking tape. The one where they go to the movie theater.
Movie theater.
The only one I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, my family and I were too poor a lot of times to like own certain VHSs over, so like we would always get them from the library because we'd be the only ones checking it out.
Yeah.
Because growing up in Seattle, Washington, like you didn't really have like that many like Christians per se. Like a lot of people I knew were like Catholic. Or, like, atheists or other religions. So, like, you know, at the library, you would see all these movies and then, like, a small, tiny section of, like, Christian videos. And we'd always be renting McGee and Me all the time.
That's so fucking relatable. I'm just imagining, like, man, those library trips we did is the exact same situation.
Oh, I was thinking earlier, it's funny we bring it full circle now, because the first time I ever seen porn was at a library.
Really?
Yeah, I was 10 years old and I was on there with my cousin. We were like looking on the internet and we were looking for, because she was obsessed with Orlando Bloom, so she wanted to see pictures of Orlando Bloom. And I was obsessed with Hilary Duff, so I wanted to see. And
so random.
She told me that she had a sister named Haley Duff. So I put it in, but we put in, it wasn't Haley, it was some other name, which turned out to be a porn star. And she was like, "This is so disgusting." I'm like, "I know, right? I never want to see this again." And then after that, I was like, "Dad, you think we can go to the library tomorrow?" Or
I got gas money.
So every time I went there, I just looked up her, and then eventually I found out there was a whole other world.
Yeah, and then, your whole life has changed at that point.
I stopped looking it up at libraries though, because then I realized it's probably illegal.
And then, now you just get kicked out. They just put a black on it, and then just boom, you're out.
Because it used to have those like black screens over the computer screen so no one could see from a distance.
Yeah.
It's fucking perfect.
That is perfect. Wait.
Kids today aren't going to know about library shit. Because, like, back then they're like, oh, Blockbuster and all that, which I didn't go. We weren't, like, rich enough to go to Blockbuster. Mm-hmm. So the library was technically our Blockbuster when you think about it.
Yeah, it really was.
Like, you go out, rent the movie, everyone else is looking at the new shit that came out a year ago. Ours is like 10 years ago.
Yeah. People get so amazed of like how many movies I still haven't watched because it's like there's just so many that I haven't seen. It's just like so overwhelming to be like, you mean I have to watch all these movies by myself to catch up with everyone? Like, I've seen all Star Wars. Like, I give myself a gold star for that one.
Good job on that one.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But like, for the longest time, I've never seen Harry Potter. I've seen like one movie so far. But the thing is, though, like, I want to watch it with like someone else and not by myself. But everyone's like, "Oh, I've already watched it like a billion times over. I don't really want to watch it again." And I'm like,
not real fans.
Yeah, exactly. I can watch Harry Potter multiple times. Damn.
I'm like, but I really want, like, you guys will experience history of like someone that grew up super religious, was banned from watching like Harry Potter, and then eventually Pokemon, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and all that fun stuff.
Man, naming the hits again.
I know.
I wasn't watching that either. Eventually, they gave us the pass, but it took many years to
so long. Way after the craze, though. When we started watching, like, oh, Pikachu, like, we don't care anymore, Austin.
Right.
You know, I'm like, oh, God.
We were only able to watch Lord of the Rings because they claimed that there was, like, Christian themes or whatever.
Yes. That's the only reason why I was allowed to watch Lord of the Rings, too.
So, like, for me, for us, that was like Star Wars or like all the big shit.
We worshipped that shit for years.
But now, as an atheist, I guess maybe that's why I'm like, I don't really give a fuck about Lord of the Rings anymore.
Yeah. Like, I haven't watched, like, I've watched it up to the point where it was like the second. No, I watched the third one. I just didn't watch The Hobbit over because I'm just like, I just don't want to invest anymore on this.
Yeah, it's exactly what you say too.
Right. I mean, you're watching like the first three. You're talking like what, 9 hours of movie already?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then now they've made 3 more, and like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's over like it's almost like what 15 hours of movie.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good on that.
I feel like the first trilogy explained enough of what happened in The Hobbit to where I'm good. I don't really need to see it.
Yeah.
I know Bilbo was a badass. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still haven't even seen Indiana Jones, and people are like, "Oh, you got to see all those." And I was like, I don't really have an interest in them.
Temple of Doom, though. That movie's good.
I've only seen one movie of Indiana Jones. I've seen all of Jurassic Park, too, so that's another good one, too.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Jurassic Park is pretty good. That's a good one. Have you seen all of Jurassic Park?
For me, like, when we were growing up, we couldn't watch so much, so now I'm trying to catch up as an adult. Like, everyone else is talking about new movies, and I'm just getting around to, like, 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I just watched Dumb and Dumber the other day.
But that's the way it is. Like, you weren't allowed to watch so much shit. And, like, going back to what we were saying earlier, it's funny because, and I guess we've talked about this before on the podcast, but your parents, because of how religious they were, they would not let you watch things, but really they're putting in your head that it's wrong. Because as a kid, you're not even going to notice
They make it
this
worse.
type of shit. And it's just fucking wild that parents would do that. Like, we weren't allowed to watch Smurfs. Because my mom heard this story about how this guy was possessed by the devil. And the Smurfs, his kid had a Smurfs bedsheet. And the Smurfs came off the bedsheet and attacked his children. And my mom was like, "You will never watch the Smurfs."
That sounds like when like missionaries came to my church. They had like a newsletter of like how Pokemon was evil and like the meaning of like Pokemon meant like pocket monsters.
Oh my God,
yeah.
And like someone threw like a Pokemon card into the fire and demons came out. So my parents, of course, they're like young and everything. They want to do like their best to like protect us type of thing. And they're just like, you know, like I had like the Pokemon soundtrack. I had Pokemon cards. Like we were homeschooled, so like we were able to like watch certain shows for a while. And Pokemon was on when my friends were getting off the bus and they were doing homework, so we're just like, ooh, what's this? This is really cool. And so like we were going to like the kids in the neighborhood, so we were the trendsetters of like the like Pokemon or whatever for kids in the neighborhood. So we got all the kids in the neighborhood like interested in that stuff. And so when we got banned from it, like everyone started making fun of us because they're just like, oh, look at you, Mother Teresa, you can't do anything. And you're just like this is so embarrassing.
Yep. Yeah, I feel that 100%.
I hated that shit because I would get like super into something, and then they would pull the plug on it.
Yeah,
right. I had like all the Pokemon cards, and I was collecting and all that, and like all my friends, because like I was homeschooled most of my life too, except for I went to a private school in 2nd grade, which was at the height of Pokemon. And it's a Christian school, and I'm the only motherfucking Christian in the whole church, or the whole school that can't watch Pokemon. Yeah. So they still made fun of me. Like, I'm not that Christian.
Yeah. They say you were the fat kid and you didn't watch Pokemon.
Yeah.
You were destined to fail in that school.
Well, I was getting sent home all the time for fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know Blake busted the principal's kid's nose?
I did.
Like, the principal...
He called me fat. What?
Did you know? That was the principal's
No, I
kid?
didn't.
Oh, damn.
No,
shit. That's even fucking better.
He was like 3 grades ahead of me, too.
Oh, man.
I was 2nd grade, like 5th grade, so much bigger. And he was like, "What up, fat boy?" And just right between the eyes broke his nose.
That's why the motto is what it is for the podcast.
Yeah, we don't take shit from nobody. Oh, man.
But now I've grown into being fat. It doesn't bother me being called fat anymore. Yeah. But as a kid, that was like being called the N-word, I guess.
It really matter. Tubby got me. If you call me Tubby, I'm like Patrick Star. I want the fuck out. Yeah, Tubby or like wide load. Wide load is so like 94 to me. Like,
well, I got no ass, so no one's ever said that about me.
Yeah, I got way too thick of one, so they said a whole lot. But we're still. Oh, my bad. I feel like we need to address something, though, that you are a comedian.
Yes, I am a comedian.
Yes, we did not say anything about that in the opening.
Oh, yeah, we just been having fun. So.
Yeah, I know. I just want to acknowledge that. So, you know, anyone out there, pretty great comedian. We saw her live.
That's true.
Yeah, we did. So
we actually performed together, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. It just now clicked. I was like, he looks familiar. Why does he look so familiar?
Yep, she was at the show where I performed stand-up for the first time, actually.
Yeah. Shout out to 127 Main in Morgantown, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Was it Kev the Comedian put it together? Shout out Kevin. Friend of the podcast.
Yeah, 1722 alum.
Yeah, he's been on here once.
41, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, good shit.
Yeah, it was a great show.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How long have you been doing stand-up now?
I first dabbled into it like almost 5 years ago. And, you know, I was like consistent with it for a while. And then I met a guy, which anyone who's watching, don't let any fucker get in the way of your dreams or anything.
Damn right.
Because, like, you know, at first, like, he was going to my shows and everything, and I thought, oh, cool, he's so very supportive ever, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I just want to chill at home, and I'm like, well, I kind of want to chill at home with you, too, and then, like, we started living with each other, I was taking care of his kid, basically, we were engaged, but then he fucked our roommate.
Oh, my. Three's company. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, and got her pregnant.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, that ended.
So then you had material to go back up on stage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that fuel right there.
Oh, yeah, like, I was just like, you know what, fuck him. Like, basically, like, towards the end, because, like, I left in the middle of our lease. We had, like, 4 months left. And they were just like, well, you owe us this last month's rent. I'm like, well, you guys should have been smarter and fucked each other towards the end.
100%.
And it's funny because she's like, well, you, like, you know, $45 you owe for the pet fee. You know, you owe this, that, another. To burn a bridge, just make it into a MasterCard commercial. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, man.
So, for me, I was just like,
wow.
You know, you going behind my back, $45. You causing emotional distress, $100. You finding out that you wore my wedding dress without asking me, $500. You fucking your first cousin, priceless. Because she would like brag about her fucking her first cousin.
It's a weird brag.
It really is. You think it was Alabama shit, but it was actually from Chattanooga.
Oh.
Which is so funny because, you know the song Chattahoochee.
Mm-hmm. One of Austin's favorites.
I was say, yeah, there you go.
It's definitely about Chattanooga whores, for sure.
Yes.
100%.
And
it's so funny because, like, I discovered this song while I was roommates with her and everything, and she was a whore. Like, she was sleeping with, like, 4 other guys, including my ex, all at the same time. So I was surprised the child ended up being his. So, congratulations. His sperm won.
Seems like there was a lot of competition.
Or they're just really, like, not fertile or something. I don't know.
Oh, Tyus' pee break. There you go.
Go to the camera. They're going to cut her off, but yeah, it's pee break.
But yeah, like, I'm so happy that I didn't marry this guy. And, like, COVID saved my ass. Like, if COVID didn't happen, we probably would have gotten married. I probably would have found out, and then I would have been divorced.
Like pretty recent then. Okay.
Oh,
2020.
Shit. Damn, yeah.
So, and it was all, like, I found out all about this during my birthday week. So, like, my 31st birthday. No, it was my 30th birthday, actually. It was my 30th birthday that I found out all about all this. I'm like, yay, entering my 30s with promising future.
Oh my god, that's terrible to go into.
Yes,
man.
It really was,
Yeah.
but I am so happy that I don't have to deal with that shit at all. And
it definitely is a shitty situation, but it sounds like it worked out for the best.
It did, because now getting booked gigs for comedy now, and just being consistent with it for like a year and a half, 2 years, and finally, like, this is how I was starting to get booked, because for a while I was, doing open mics, but no one was reaching out to me to be like, hey, do a gig with me type of thing. So I ended up traveling outside of Tennessee and reaching out to comedians and like, hey, like the group, Facebook groups, whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Do you have any open mics or shows that I can be a part of? I did an open mic in Dallas, and everyone's just like, oh my god, you're so funny. And I'm like, thank you, give me hope. And so, because at first I didn't know if I was funny or not, because like people weren't really giving me input in the Nashville scene or whatever. But also I think they were probably like, I don't know if this person's going to stay or go type of thing. Because, there's been plenty of people I've seen over the years where like, oh, they're funny. They're going to be here for a long time. And then like, you ask about people, And they're like, they're not doing comedy anymore. You're just like, oh, okay. So, and then I finally got a book gig, whatever, in Reno, Nevada. And it was a paid gig. And ever since then, since it was like all over social media and everything, people in Nashville were like, hey, you want to go do a show? I'm like, yeah, I want to do a show. And it just keeps on continuing. So it's been good.
Damn, that's awesome. You got a paid gig in Reno. Damn, good for you. Awesome. So, I mean, so since you are a comedian, do you have, like, comedic people that you, like, look up to that made you want to do stand-up, or did you just do stand-up?
I mean, I realized that I wanted to do comedy after I started listening consistently to comedians. Because, like, I would go to shows here and there, but it wasn't, like, a consistent thing in my life at the time. And, like, I've been to the first comedy show, like, real comedy show. Well, all comedy shows are real, but, like, a big comedy show was Angela Johnson.
Oh, nice.
Actually, 9 years ago today, I went to her show. I was at TPAC in Tennessee. And, you know, I thought that was cool, whatever. And then I was working a job doing medical billing. And hated the job so bad. It sucked my soul. It was definitely a soul eater. And, like, my supervisor was, like, in her 40s. And she was obsessed with Mean Girls. Like, she wore fucking pink on Wednesdays. And she had her little squad that, like, sat all around me. So when she was supposed to be training with me, she was gossiping and bitching with her girls. So whenever I wasn't training with her, I found out that I can listen to music or whatever I wanted to on my computer. So, you know, when Pandora was huge, it's not that popular anymore, and I can understand why, because they would play the same damn music over and over again and never expanded on it. So I'm like, what else can I listen to? So I started listening to podcasts, and then I saw that there was comedians on these podcasts. I'm like, oh, they're pretty funny. Let me check out more of their stuff. And I discovered Joe Coy. And he's from Seattle. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm like, yeah, someone from Seattle, there's hope for us. Not all of us are going to get into drugs or marry into the military.
And that dude makes money.
Yeah, he is an icon right now. Like,
he really is. Yeah. Like, I started liking him before, like, he really blew up. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, oh, he's cool, whatever. And then I started listening to other comedians. And there are some comedians that I listen to. I'm just like, how the fuck did they get famous?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, if they could do it, I could do it. Because everyone, like, because I worked in also women's clothing. And all of them were, like, married or in serious relationships. So they lived vicariously through me because I was single. Mm-hmm. And I always tell them all the shitty dates I was going on. So it's just like, what's on the episode of Ash Newland? You know, like, what's next on this telenovela, you know? And so, you know, I would be talking about my shitty dating stories, and they thought it was hilarious. And at the job that I was at that I really hated, I got laid off, and I was like, shit, what do I do? What do I do? And so my friends were like, hey, be a background actor for Nashville TV, the TV show. So I've been a background actor for Nashville a few times, and I met someone there. And I felt so comfortable with this person. He seemed like a cool guy, non-judgmental or anything. And I was like, I want to be a stand-up comedy. Because he's like, what's your dreams? I'm like, I want to be a stand-up comedy. And that was like the first time I ever said that ever in my life. He's like, cool, I want to do stand-up comedy too. It's like, yeah, we should do it together. And I was like, hey, let me reach out to this person. I know she does stand-up comedy. I'm like, oh, cool, female comedian. Never met a real female comedian ever in my life type of thing. And so he told me when and where. I arrived there, put my name on the piece of paper, and like 15 minutes passed by before starting. 10 minutes passed by, and he still wasn't there. I'm like texting him like, where the fuck are you, bro? Didn't respond back. And then 5 minutes after it started, he finally texted me saying, oh, the cops blocked my street over. I can't get out. So I'm like, well, fuck. I put my name on the paper. I don't want to back out now. And so I didn't know anything of what to do. I was just like thinking, like, tell a funny story. Like, sure, why not try to do that? Didn't say it was my first time ever. Nothing. So when I got on stage, told the story, no one laughed. It was crickets. Oh. And I was like, okay, guys, thanks for letting me waste your time. I'm going to go in the corner and slit my wrists now. Got one laugh after that. But the host, the host, she came onto the stage and she said, I know what drugs I'm fucking on, but I don't know what the fuck she's on. And I was like, oh, God, I bombed that bad. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it again. I'm going to make one person laugh. And the second time I did it, it was at a different place. And I think, like, hosts and everything definitely make or break the show and everything, as well as, like, comedians and whether they're, like, super judging the sets over or not. But there was actually, like, an actual mixture of people that weren't comedians there either. Eventually, we got banned from doing open mics there because people were getting a little ridiculous with their jokes over. But the host there, she thought I was a traveling comedian. She's like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I live here. She's like, oh, I thought you were a traveling comedian. I'm like, okay, I can do this. So it's been a great journey. Like, there's been times where I'm like, why am I doing this? But then I'm like, I love doing it. It's cheaper than therapy.
As long as you love it, that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. And so when I told my family about it, they're like, wait, you? Do you stand-up comedy? And I'm like, yeah. And they're just now, I feel like they're like more interested in it, but that's because they know I'm getting paid for it now.
Of course, yeah.
Like, my dad, he's just like, not trying to pry into your business or anything, but how much are you making with this right now? I'm like, oh, ballpark this, the lowest I've ever made, the highest I've ever made.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's like, well, if you're making that much for that one show, just imagine if you're in like a stadium or something and you were, charging like this much for a ticket or whatever. He goes, you could be making as much as Jeff Dunham. Like, that's his go-to for comedians. And I'm like, and for me, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, can't do it.
I'm like, Dad, you can think better when it comes to comedians.
Yeah.
I was like, Googling, like, who's the highest paid gross comedian? And it was,
Jerry Seinfeld?
Jerry Seinfeld, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I was like, Dad, we're thinking low numbers, like midpoint numbers here, Dad. Like, think bigger for myself.
Yeah.
It's adorable that Jeff Dunham's the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, that's like the pinnacle of a comedy for him. Do you know who Jeff Dunham is?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah. Oh, God, I can't do the puppets. It's not my form.
It's not my thing either.
People love him. I don't really get it.
I mean, I'm
Rednecks love him.
Yeah.
My dad's a redneck, for sure.
Oh, okay, well then there you go.
Well,
that
here
actually.
on 1722, we say fuck rednecks a whole lot.
Like, my dad is, get her done.
Oh, yeah.
Redneck.
Like blue collar comedy tour bullshit.
Yes.
Here's your sign, all that
the
stuff.
weakest of all comedy. I can't stand it.
Oh, my...
Like, all that, like, hacky, just the easiest
the catchphrase comedy.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yes, I actually have an uncle. His name is Rusty. And his last name's Ford.
Rusty Ford. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, and he actually, like, he's a funny guy. I think I got some of my comedy, like, style a little bit from him because he always do, like, pranks and all that. And he would always do redneck jokes. Like, anytime I saw him, he would just be like, you might be a redneck when you're a niece.
That's such an uncle joke, too. That's what's so funny.
Yes. Like, I remember one time, he's like, you might be an urbanite.
An urbanite?
He's trying to make his own version now.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Good
it
God.
was so hilarious.
I mean, they're successful, so they did something right, but I hate it.
Yeah.
And even if I met him, I tell him I hate it.
Well, I mean, it's like what she said earlier about, like, there's certain comedians that you watch and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And again, not for me to judge or because they're making way more than I am, but I'm just like, for me not understanding it and not liking it at all.
All comes down to taste and preference. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's all of my favorite comedians, and the way that I do comedy is like joke writing. That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
But then you have comedians where it looks like they're just up there talking, and they could have written it, but it doesn't come across that way. And there's like different versions of it or whatever. So it's just like, it may not be for me, but clearly it's for someone else. but it's hard not to judge something that you don't like.
Yeah.
So,
like, I can't do when a comedian has a guitar through the whole entire set.
Yeah,
it's just
like
not for me.
comedy.
Yeah, music comedy, like where their punchlines and everything are like the end of a song, and they'll start up another one. I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's not for me either.
No. There's only like one or two people that are like not like they're known, but they're not like nationally known per se that I've seen that I'm impressed with, because usually I agree with you on that, where it's just like, why? Like,
yeah, it's just like, we get it. You can do music, you can do comedy. That's awesome. But try doing it without the music. Is it as funny? Because most of the time it's probably not.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you have a setup,
I just think there's two things that need to be separate.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they work well together.
Because, like, you never see metal in comedy, because that would be awful. It's always, like, folk in comedy.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be hacky, I think.
Like, you got it.
I guess maybe I'd feel different about it if the music was good and the comedy was good, but it's never that way. It's always, like, 3 chords and the shittiest jokes you've ever heard.
Yeah, it's just as bad as Christian music.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, 90s Christian music. Like, the Newsboys.
Oh, Newsboys.
Oh, my God.
Breakfast in Hell.
Yeah.
Like,
classic.
It's so crazy, because when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that song is fucked up. Like, it's like fear-mongering kids be like, look, guys, if you don't do well and everything like that, guess what? There's no Captain Crunch in hell or anything.
Yes.
Those oops all berries are waving bye-bye to you, bitches.
That's really what the song is. Yeah. Pull up a picture of Newsboys right there whenever you edit this. Because, like, everyone needs to know what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah.
Because everyone needs to bask in whatever the hell that is.
That Newsboys, DC Talk.
Oh.
Oh, that Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Yes. I actually went to the orphanage where he adopted one of his daughters from when I was in China, because I did missions work. So I've been all over, and they're like, oh yeah, and like I saw his signature on the wall and everything. So there's several Christian artists that have adopted their babies from there or whatever. So like, so all their signatures are on there. You're just like, this is weird, but okay.
They make them sign the wall for when they've adopted kids.
I don't know. It was just signatures on there. I think maybe they were high up on their horse or something. Like, they're like, oh, God led me to adopt a Chinese baby overseas and everything. So I feel like God is telling me to sign my signature on here to bless this orphanage. I don't know.
So it's like the Christian Walk of Fame for them.
Won't do a good deed without the John Hancock.
My brother and I used to get in debates about who was like the better Christian artist. Newsboys was his favorite. Mine was Skillet.
Oh, Skillet.
Yeah. Which, it's so crazy. Like, out of all people I thought would, like, deconstruct, I thought it'd be, like, Skillet, but, like, the lead singer, he's, like, to the point with the Bible and everything. Yeah, very conservative and everything.
They're, like, on the verge of getting canceled right now because of how conservative he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I didn't know it's like
I'm
that.
still up to date on my Skillet news, so.
Remember how, like, the fans were called panheads?
Yep.
I think I had, like, an AOL name, like, Panhead Freak or something. I don't remember.
If I heard it, I would have never listened to him.
Yeah, they're all called Panhead.
I didn't know that either. That's so cringy. Oh, God.
It really is.
I'm going to have to take their music out of my library.
I mean, the cringiest one of them all, I think, would have to be Plus One, the boy band.
God, yeah. I completely forgot what Plus One.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were, like, just yanking them from the back. Like,
oh, I really am. Like, I'm exposing Christian purity culture moment right here. It's
what you know about that Jump 5, though?
Oh, yes. I remember them. I wasn't a fan with them. I'm just, like, always making fun of them. Like, they sound like little kids, like,
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like...
It's like that, I guess, supposed to be, like, in sync, I guess,
but for Christians.
Yeah. But for, like, little kids.
Yeah.
And then they had, what was the... They had the Christian, like, Kids Bop. What was that one?
Did they have one?
Yeah. Or like Wow Hits.
Wow Hits, yes.
Wow Hits. Yeah. Oh, my God.
That cheeseburger song from VeggieTales was the shit.
Oh, that is so good. I still listen to that shit. I won't even lie. He said to her. That part gets me.
I like a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Oh man, if you know, you know. Let us know in the comments. Yeah,
it's nice to have somebody on the podcast that actually knows what we're talking
about.
Yeah.
Because whenever I like bust out in like VeggieTales randomly or whatever, people are just like, "What the fuck, Ash? You're not getting into drugs now, are you?"
I mean, people shit on VeggieTales, but like it's entertaining.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of, I thought throughout the years, didn't they kind of lean away from the
it's more
Christian
morals
element?
Yeah, it's more just about like being a good person and adventure,
which is just cartoon 101. So I don't really care.
I think it's on Netflix now. Like they rechanged everything. Sorry, I'm like coughing all of a sudden.
Should we get inside the phone call and all that then? We're at an hour, which
went
by so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, shit, it's hard to do trivia based off of what? Because now I'm like, okay, a Christian theme.
I was not. Yeah.
I forgot you weren't raised Christian.
I wasn't that embedded in it.
Yeah. So you'd be pretty left out. Huh. All right. Should we just do a number thing?
Yeah. Just think of a number, and whoever gets closest has to make the roll.
All right. A number between 1 and 10.
7.
3.
6.
Yep, I was thinking 6.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so now you got to figure out
the phone call, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to do it from your phone though.
Okay, I'll find a place real quick.
Okay, let's do that. Should we vamp while he's finding a phone number?
Sure.
Just talk about bullshit.
Away.
Vamp away.
Yeah.
All right, like what? Favorite vampire character?
Let's get it. Oh, what about the clothes? But
oh, that's even perfect.
I'm about to risk it.
Yeah. That's more likely to get a reaction from people if they're closing. They're like, bro, I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about right now. Fuck your podcast. Are you not giving it to her? Oh. Oh shit.
Hi there. My name is Ash Newland. I'm a comedian. I'm on a podcast right now, and you're on it. What is the podcast called?
1722.
1722 is the podcast. Have you ever heard of this podcast before?
I've never heard of that podcast.
Oh, well, congratulations. Now you know, so you can check it out and everything. So my question to you is, what is your favorite porno?
My favorite what?
What is your favorite porno?
We can't answer that. Sorry about that.
All right, well, thank you so much for being a great trooper. You have a wonderful day.
You can answer that. Say it under your breath, my
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. Yeah. He had like Stormy Daniels.
That was
some creepy shit if he's not answering.
That was the pink door in Seattle, Washington.
Oh,
The what?
The pink door in Seattle, Washington.
Oh.
Hey, you got a hometown.
I don't even know what that, even though it's from Seattle, Washington, I have no idea what that is.
Well, I think we don't even need to call another one. That's just perfect enough. We can just do the finishing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And remember,
Don't take shit from nobody!